Welcome, welcome, welcome to another video. I'm happy. I'm happy. It's Tuesday. We had a great weekend. The weather was amazing. Summertime is in full swing. That's why I'm wearing this has really been my favorite dress for the summer, and I get so many compliments when I wear this dress. So I had to re-wear it because I do re-wear because I love what I love, and when I love something, I'm gonna keep on wearing it. I love my makeup today. I love it. I hope you love it as well. I took more time. I'm telling you, ever since you are in my life, I'm getting back into the groove. I'm getting back. Because I've been here for a few months already, and this was prior to the club. Tell me, go back to the first meeting. How did I look compared to now? I'm taking more time. I'm catering to myself. I'm feeling like myself. I'm unapologetic because I was playing it safe. Also because I feel there is a charm to being a natural beauty and not doing too much. You know, just let your natural beauty shine. Just put on some mascara, not too much. But at the end of the day, I really love a full glam, and I'm still not fully glammed up, but this is for daytime. I do my makeup for daytime. Back in the day, I did my makeup for nighttime camera, but this is a great daytime makeup because I still look put together. I still look glam, but it's appropriate for day, in my belief. For some people, it might be too much, but I don't have long hair. So I have to do something to stand out from the crowd. And I am that housewife that loves to look good. I think that is such a beautiful skill to have. It makes you feel good. You always look put together. You're always ready. Not only are you always ready, your husband sees you at your best. That will also make sure that he keeps on falling in love with you, not with what you do. Of course, your husband loves you, but it's so easy to slip into that brother-sister relationship. You just lose yourself, you gain a lot of weight, you stop taking care of yourself. All of a sudden your hair is in a messy bun, you're wearing sweatsuits. You know, you're hiding yourself. You don't feel good about yourself. And of course, your husband will still love you. He will still be intimate with you. But is he really going to be attracted to you? That is the question. And I want my husband to be attracted to me. So that means I've got to look good. But I know there are some husbands out there that they don't want their wives to look good. And I know there are some girls here in the club that are experiencing that exactly. That their husband doesn't want them to look good because they are insecure and scared that their wives will attract other men. Well, that's the price you pay. Okay, mister. Because if somebody looks good, there's nothing you can do about it. There will be other men attracted to your wife, and that keeps you on your tippy toes because she is in high demand, but she knows that you are the best and that you are the only one she wants, and she looks good for herself and for you. So it's something that should be respected. By the way, it's a club meeting, but I'm here with the kids, so wait 1 second, boy. So I believe it's so silly for certain husbands to, do that to their wives. I mean, if you have a successful business, why are you mad that clients are coming? or potential clients. They are attracted to success. They are attracted to the product, the establishment that you build, the brand, the platform. It's the same way if your wife looks good. Other men will notice. Not only men, also women. They will notice something beautiful in the room. My husband always says it's so weird that he just always gives this example. Let's say you have a new car, an amazing car, a beautiful car. Let's say an Aston Martin. You pull up to your friend's house and they see you with the car and they don't say anything about the car. They see the car, they know it's a new car, but they just don't even mention it. They don't acknowledge it. That would be weird, right? What if you look so good, you just look your best, and nobody sees you, nobody says anything, your husband doesn't say anything, your friends, the people around you? That is weird. So it's normal that when you are your best, you are beautiful, if there's something beautiful in the environment or in the room, that people will naturally be attracted or will be enamored by it. That's normal. And that's part of the game of the game of being with somebody who is beautiful. But that is not where I want to go. I just want to say that you all have contributed to the way I look today, because I'm so inspired. I want to be my best. I want to really push myself, because I was thinking about this. I was inspired when I started makeup in 2007. That is where I really started doing and applying makeup on my face. I've always been in awe with makeup and beauty and fashion. But then YouTube came, I started looking tutorials. There were not a lot of tutorials, but there were a few. And I loved looking at Arabic makeup. I loved it. The eyes, the drama, the cat eye, all of that. I loved it. So I just loved these women. It was such a different world. They had nothing to do with the Western world. They were in their own bubble. They were doing their own thing. They were speaking Arabic. I didn't understand nothing, but we were connected through makeup, through beauty. And I know there's a whole nother world out there. So yesterday I was going to bed, but I want to be inspired. Like I said a few weeks ago, I get better when I see other women also at their best. I was talking about Cynthia Bailey looking amazing for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. How do you call it? Interviews, or the interviews they do on the show. It instantly made me want to do my best. So yesterday I was looking at a influencer from Kuwait. Her name is Mir, I think is how you pronounce it. And I've been following her for years. And she has a makeup artist who her name is, I think, Rawan. They're all from Kuwait and they are gorgeous. I mean, drop that gorgeous. Beautiful, elegant, fully glammed up. So I was looking at their pages because I haven't checked their page in a while. So when it comes to Instagram, if you don't check or don't engage with your with certain channels or certain people you follow, you stop seeing their posts. So I was looking at it and I was just floored, and I was like, wow, how many women like that are out there in the Middle East? Because I know those are the real traditional wives, housewives, because they really take it there. They are the Stafford wives. They look gorgeous. I believe they smell gorgeous. Their homes is beautiful kept. They are fashionable. They wear all the jewelry. They have the children. They have the husband. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but they really hone into the fact that they are housewives. And I feel that in these type of environments, people don't frown upon the fact that you are a housewife. It's being celebrated. Being a wife is something, is such an accomplishment, that somebody found you and loves you and wants to marry you, and you are become his wife, and you build a family together. Whereas where I'm from, I live in the Netherlands. I'm born in the Netherlands, raised in the Netherlands, but my parents are immigrants. My mom is from Suriname, my dad is from Ghana. Within the Surinamese culture, the woman is the matriarch. It's all around, everything is built around the matriarch. And I believe, I'm not an expert, I believe it stems from slavery, because we are descendants from people who were made slaves. Let me see, my daughter. I'm not a history teacher, so I don't really know the deeds, but I believe that it stems from slavery, because we are descendants from people who were made into a slave. A whole different culture, meaning you are not free. You cannot choose who you are intimate with. You cannot decide what type of lifestyle you want to live, how your family structure is going to be. You cannot decide how you want to express yourself with your fashion, your makeup, or anything. Everything has been decided for you. And if you find a way to do things in the dark, you probably will. But at the end of the day, you were not free. And also the men had played a totally different role in that family structure. Now slavery has been abolished, but it's a culture, and that culture will continue on unless people change it. So within our culture, marriage is not something that is really being celebrated. It's not even something we talk about within the Surinamese culture. My mom never said you need to get married, you need to find a man who loves you, that takes care of you, who pays the bills. There was no conversation. How I know most of my friends or people I know within the Surinamese culture started families is just all of a sudden they are pregnant. Some of us never saw the boyfriend. There was no boyfriend. They just were intimate with one another just that one time. The same case with my grandmother. She was never married to my grandfather. He had his whole wife. He had his wife. He had a child. And he conceived my mother with my grandmother that one time. So my grandmother will never tell my mom, oh, you need to get married because this is the requirements. This is how we do things. So we as Surinamese women know, don't depend on a man. That is the moral of the story. Don't depend on a man. Make sure you get your diploma, go to school, get good grades, get yourself a steady job, work hard, get yourself a home. When you're ready to have children, but don't depend on the man. If he is around, fine. If he's not around, equally fine, because I wasn't expected to be around anyways. So that is how we are being raised, as being very strong, independent women. So we are raised to be very strong, independent women. I don't know when it comes to Ghanaian culture, because I stated before, my dad came here by himself. I've never met his relatives. I don't know his family members. I know that he comes from, my father is originally Muslim. His family is Muslim. So I don't know. I know within that religion there are certain rules when it comes to men and women, wives and husbands, when it comes to working and money. But I don't know how it works in the Ghanaian culture, because my dad was, his father was really extremely religious. So there was no culture involved except for the religion they were following. But what I wanted to say is my mom didn't know she had a choice. So she went by the program of, okay, I'm now a certain age. This man approached me. I guess I'm 34. I guess this is the time. She already was working for almost 13 years. She had a steady job. She was doing her thing. She had her own home. She had her driver's license. She had everything. She was that independent woman. My dad came around. She was like, okay, maybe I should. I'm already 34. Let's get married. And the only reason she told me why she got married is because she didn't carry her own last name, or let me say her father's last name, because these are the things you're going to deal with when your parents are not married. She had her mother's last name because my grandfather couldn't acknowledge her as his daughter because she was out of wedlock. He was already married to somebody else, so you cannot recognize other children when you are married to somebody else. So she was an outside child. So she got her mother's last name, but then her mother got married and her mother took the name of her then husband. But he then, there were some rules, or maybe with his job, and he said, if your daughter wants to live here, she also has to take my last name. So everybody objected. My mother's grandparents objected because they were like, she knows her father, he also lives around here, why would you do that to her? But her mom did it anyway. So she has a last name that has nothing to do with her. So she was like, if I'm going to have children, I don't want them to have my stepfather's last name, because I don't have nothing to do with that man. I don't know him like that. So that's why she got married, so that we wouldn't carry on his legacy, because there's somebody she didn't know like that. She didn't live a long time with him because, I don't know. Anyways, because my mom came to the Netherlands. So that is why she got married, and my dad got married because of, obviously, he loved her. She was beautiful, but that was not his prime thing. My dad was straight from Ghana. He came to the Netherlands. He had no documentation. And of course, he was looking for somebody to mate with, but also, of course, to make sure that he could stay in the country. So that was the reason they got together and they got married. My thing is, because now I got lost in the sauce, I don't even know what I'm trying to tell. But yes, this is where I want to go. Within the Surinamese culture, depending on the man is seen as dangerous because he can cheat, he can treat you bad, then you're stuck to him. So I'm not saying all, okay? I'm not saying all, but a lot of women think like this. And also a lot of men don't really know how to be a husband, because it's not something that is being seen often. And now, here I come saying that I want to be a housewife, being married to a Surinamese guy, knowing all the things I know, knowing how people think about Surinamese men. Everybody looked at me like, this girl has done lost her mind. She crazy. But I always understood that I have a choice. Whereas other women within this culture don't really, they know, but maybe they are not really aware. Because sometimes you might know, but you're not aware that you really have a choice. I chose, however you want to say it, this lifestyle. I chose to be with this man. I chose to be a housewife. That was my choice. That is what I wanted. Because is that not what feminism is all about? Having a choice to be the type of woman you want to be, not what society wants you to be, culture, ethnicities, or whatever, social demographics, economics, whatever. You decide what type of woman, wife, mom you want to be. So that is always something that I kept in my mind, because I saw examples around me of women that were stay-at-home moms. And I think stay-at-home mom and being a housewife are two different things, because you can be working up to you're pregnant and then you stay at home to take care of your children. But once your children are a certain age, you want to go back into the work field. I am really a housewife. I didn't stop working because I was pregnant, and I'm not planning on going back to work to have a job after my children are a certain age. I'm a certified, bona fide housewife. I stopped working because I found my husband, then boyfriend. And I was like, this is what I want to do. If you can do this for me, then I can fulfill my dreams. And he was like, okay. I worked for 2 months, 3 months, because he really wanted to see if this relationship had the stamina to, to be something bigger and for long terms. And after 3 months, he was like, okay, you can stop. This is just silly that you have to go from Amsterdam to Utrecht every single day. You work till 10. You'll be home by 11, or yeah, I was home around 11 p.m. It became dark. He picked me up from the train station, because prior to us being back together, because there's a whole story and I will link it in the video, but I had a car. The car broke down and I did not invest into a new car, so I had to go to work by public transportation. And that was okay when I was living with my mom, but going from Amsterdam to Utrecht every day, at one point it was just, then the trains were delayed. There was always something. Even when my husband bought a car for me, it was worse, because I was stuck in traffic every single day, because the time that I had to go to work was 4:30. I think it was 4:30 or 5 p.m. That is the height of traffic. That is the height of traffic. So at one point it defeated the whole purpose. So he's like, you can stay home now. And I was like, yes, thank you. So I love this lifestyle, but I understand that even in the Western culture, the Dutch culture, it's not something that is being celebrated. Of course, being a stay-at-home mom, people are like, I understand. You have children, your babies are still young. You can always go back to school. You can always have a job. It's okay. Or you can work part-time. Is that only what you do? People question because they don't really understand. Now that I'm a full-time housewife or threadwife, stepwife, however you want to call it, people find that very odd. I'm really like a duck swimming in a pond that I'm a foreign duck, because there are not a lot of women or housewives that are proud to be a housewife, to see the value that they bring to their family, to their home. They are ashamed. They don't even see it. They're like, what am I doing? I saw a clip, or my husband showed me a clip of, no, it's not my husband showed me a clip. A few years ago, they were asking Savannah James, LeBron James, his wife, about, I think her daughter said something like, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And she was like what? Like me, and what is it that I do? And she felt some type of way about it. So that brought her onto a new journey of, seeing what's out there, to, maybe start businesses, stuff like that. I don't have that feeling. Not saying that it will never come, but I know who I am. And if my daughter tells me, one of my daughters said, Mom, I want to be just like you when I grow up, I'll be like, yes, good for you. great. If you want to be a homemaker, you want to be, a housewife, good. I'm not going to tell her like what and what is it that I'm doing. I'm proud of who I am, and I understand what it means to be a housewife and how fulfilling it can be. And sometimes I do feel that I am kind of living in the wrong country. Not saying that I'm living in the wrong country, but I know that there are countries out there that are more understanding and accepting of women just being wives, being housewives. And that is why I want to go back to the Arabic makeup, because I know in Middle Eastern cultures, and I'm not saying all cultures, I'm not saying it's perfect, but they are more accepting of a wife just being a wife. And I know there are also husbands that don't want their wives to work, and that has to do with insecurity and control. But I know it's not being frowned upon when a woman just says, I just want to be married and have children and take care of my husband and be that wife for him that is supportive, that cooks for him, that looks good and takes pride in her appearance and making sure everything runs smoothly at home. I know also Eastern European countries are like that. Women from Russia or Ukraine or Romania, it's more accepted for a woman just to say, I'm a wife and I want to look good for my man, but also look good for myself, because I want to be the best version of myself. I want to cook him dinner. I want to build him a beautiful home. That is not something that people will be like, she's weird. When it comes to my culture, I was living in Suriname for 3.5 years and we built a home. But before we started building, my husband said, you know what, instead of renting a home, let's just say a parental home. My mom is just there. We have a big home because we don't know what the budget will be. We don't know how life is going to be. We don't know Suriname that well, so let's just stay with my mom. She has a lot of connections because also my husband, his late father, was working in the government. He was like somebody up there and he helped a lot of people with getting plots to build and stuff like that. And he's like, maybe my mom still knows these people, so it could be easier for to get plots, so it's better to get close to her. And as we arrived, and I was pregnant at the time, I was 5 months pregnant with our first child. And they were like, what are you going to do here? Are you going to have a job? I was like, a job here in Suriname? Why? Well, you cannot stay at home. You have to work. I was like, do these people not see that I'm pregnant? Why do I have to work? It's not like my husband is asking you for money. We came with our own money. We good. And they were really pressing me like, you need to work. You cannot be here. And just, what are you going to do? What type of income are you going to bring in? And they were really also pressing their boyfriend, now husband, like, she needs to work. Why is your girlfriend not working? She needs to work. And his brother, his oldest brother, he was really aggressive and violent almost. Talking about she needs to work. And why is she not working? You are probably an insecure guy that doesn't want his girlfriend to work because he's jealous of the men that she's going to hang around with at her job. And he was like, you really do not know me. And he doesn't know his siblings that well because my husband left home when he was 14 and then he came to the Netherlands because my husband was born in Suriname or is born in Suriname, and he came to the Netherlands when he was 14. His other siblings stayed behind, and later on, maybe 10 years later, some of them came over, but he was one of the first that came here. So they don't know him because he lived in the net. He's been living here for almost 40 years, so they don't know him. They don't know how he ticks. They don't know nothing about him. So it was so weird for his brother to say all these things. And also I find it strange that People who are not in your marriage will tell you or your husband how to treat your husband or your wife. Because why would you tell a grown man that has been paying his bills, who is successful in his own right, meaning he has a job, he bought an apartment in Amsterdam, he's paying his bills, he's not bothering anybody, he's happy, he's doing things. Why would you tell him how he should treat his wife or girlfriend? It makes no sense to me, because it's not like his money is your money. It's his money. He's working for his money, and he can decide how he wants to spend his money. So why would you be all up in his lifestyle and asking him or telling him that he should tell me that I need to get a job? I found that so strange. But again, that it has to do with our culture, because they felt like you should help your mama when his mother was living a great life. Sorry, I'm drinking some tea, but I don't want to ruin my lipstick. Because I still need to have breakfast, but I needed to started. So it was, I understand, they believe that your mother raised you. If it wasn't for your mother, you wouldn't be here. So your money should go to your mother. Even though his mother was living a great life. She had a big house with 6 rooms, 6 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, 2 bathrooms. That is very luxurious when you come from Suriname. You really did that. You are a big girl when you have that. So they had a carport. I mean, you don't need money like that, but it was just the idea and the principle of, she raised you, you need to give your money to her. And the same thing was with me. When I got my first real job, I was happy about that. And then I got my first check, and mom's like, you should give all your money to me. You should give me your first check. And I was like, where does this come from? You never told me that. But because she felt like I contributed, I did everything for you, I took care of you, I was a single mom, and this is how you should repay me, by giving me your full check. And I was like, oh heck no. I got plans, lady. I got plans. You should have told me that way before I start making my own plans for my life. So I just come from a different world. They come from Suriname. They were born in the 30s, 40s, 50s. I come from the Netherlands. I was born in the 90s. It's different. I was raised amongst white people who don't think like that, giving their parents money. It's the other way around. Parents support their children. So it was weird. So for me to be a housewife in the environment that I'm in, it's very difficult. And that's why I started this club, because as women from the West, we need to connect with women from the East, the Middle East, Africa, even South America and Eastern Europe, because they know how to be a housewife. When I see these Eastern European women, how they look, how they take care of their household, how their husband love them, of course things happen, but that's between husband and wife. Let's not say that all women are like that, or all housewives or all husbands. But they take pride into being a wife. They are not ashamed. They cheer each other on. They motivate one another. They inspire one another. When I look at Instagram and I see these women, I'm like, wow, and she got 4 kids. She looks good. She looks good. The children are going to activities. Even Southern America, even though Suriname is in South America, it's a total different experience from women from Brazil or Colombia, Venezuela. These people, they take pride in how they look. They understand that how you look is currency. It's It's not something to be ashamed about looking good. It's being celebrated. It's being motivated. You know, people push that agenda because sometimes we think, oh, we are from the West and we are the best and everybody inspires to be like the Western countries. When it comes to fashion, beauty, marriage and that stuff, the West is really not the best at these things. Those are not the most inspirational countries when it comes to these things. When I look to the women in the Middle East, I'm like, wow, the dresses, the jewelry, the women. I've never seen Middle Eastern women like that here in the Netherlands. The women that I see that are from Northern Africa or Middle East, trust me, what I see here, it cannot compare to what the original ones look like. They really understand slow living. They really understand what it means to be a housewife. They really understand what it means to take care of yourself and to connect with other women. And I'm just in awe, and I want to connect with all of them because I want them to teach us here in the club. How is it to be a housewife in Kuwait or Qatar, in how do you call it, the Emirates, in Morocco, in Saudi Arabia? How is it to be a housewife in Brazil, in Colombia? How is it to be a housewife in Russia or Ukraine? I want to know because I want us to learn from you, because we live in the West. The West is totally different. I want to know, how does it feel that you are celebrated and you should not have to be ashamed of who you are? Because a lot of women in the West that are housewives are ashamed. It's something that is been looked down upon. It's seen as you're very low when it comes to the social status. A lot of women trying to get out, even a Savannah James, when I think she's a gorgeous woman. She contributed to her husband's legacy and his success, because if she wasn't who she is, he could never be the man he is. And that is also something a lot of women forget, even us housewives, that taking care of your husband is a full-time job. Of course, it's not like taking care of a child. Your husband can shower himself, he can do that stuff, but you're helping him as best as you can so that he can focus on being successful, thriving at his job or starting a business, building you a home, building a legacy. That is what a housewife really is. That's why I say it's different from being a stay-at-home mom. And I'm trying to figure out if I do want stay-at-home moms in the club, because it's a different experience. Being a housewife, when I didn't have children, I was there to support my husband. Meaning I wake up, I listen to his stories, I help him figure out which content to create, I help him figure out how to film, how to use camera angles and lighting. I help him so that he doesn't have to cook, he doesn't have to clean, that he has a full day so that he can create. That is my thing. I help my husband so that he can fully focus on what he wants to do, meaning business-wise, legacy-wise. He doesn't cook. He used to cook when we started dating, but that at the time he wasn't busy with his business. Now I cook. He doesn't even know his way around the kitchen, and I don't even want him in the kitchen. Sometimes I tell myself, let the man in the kitchen. If he wants to do the dishes, let him do the dishes. But the next day I'm like, why is this here? Why is that there? This doesn't belong here. Because he doesn't know his way around the kitchen anymore. Even sending him to the grocery stores. At first, when we met, he was doing his own groceries. I never did his groceries. At one point, I started doing the groceries. He doesn't even know how to do groceries. If I send him to the grocery store, I have to send pictures of the groceries we need. I have to tell him this is an aisle 1, this is an aisle 5. This is he doesn't know. So it takes so long when he needs to do these things because I created a habitat for him to thrive. And let me take that off your plate so you can solely focus on what you need to focus on, because that will help us as a family to grow, to elevate. Because my daughter wants a horse, and I want her to have a horse. But when you have a horse, you have to have a barn, or you have to rent a stable. And if you don't have a barn and you rent a stable with somebody, that means you have to go over there every day. So I don't want that for her. I want her to have a farm where we can have stables at home, where every time she comes from school, she can work with her horses. Also, I want a farm because I don't want any neighbors anymore. And I want to host events. I want to garden. I want to plant my own flowers. I want to grow my own food. You know, there are certain things I want to do in life. So if I can help my husband achieve that by taking stuff off his plate, I will. And that is why I say I am not a stay-at-home mom. I'm a housewife. I'm a traditional wife. And I understand my job. So I cook, I clean, I wash his clothes, I iron clothes. And this was prior to having children. I make sure I look good because I want my husband to stay attracted to me. And I also want to stay attracted to myself. Importantly, I need to recognize myself when I look into the mirror. And that also takes time. That also it's effort. And there are so many more things that comes with being a traditional wife or a housewife. I don't think people understand that, or they think it's silly, it's dangerous, or whatever the case may be. But it's a full-time job taking care of a husband. Of course, you don't have to shower him and stuff, but it's a full-time job. And cooking means groceries, means washing dishes, because you're preparing basically the table for when he comes home. You're creating an atmosphere, because I believe he had a long day at work. It was maybe stressful. There was a lot of things going on. So when he comes home, I want him to relax. I want him to have good food that makes him feel good, comfort food, real vitamins. So I create a full table with great foods, healthy foods, delicious food, so that he feels appreciated, he feels good, he feels full, and gets the fuel to get back to editing, creating, make sure that I'm, now that we have kids, take care of the children so that he doesn't have to do as much. And sometimes when I said that a few weeks ago, when the resentment, when he, let's say, has to wash dishes, or when he maybe has to vacuum, to him it's such a big task, because he's not used to it anymore. When I think vacuum is this big in the whole list, but for him it's a major task at this point, because he's so focused on what he needs to focus on, and that takes so much of his time. That vacuum is like, wow, I help cleaning up. I'm like, and sometimes I don't want to be ungrateful. I'm like, you're not really. You have to, do the windows. The garden has to be done. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed in the home. There's so much stuff that I don't bother you with, because you're focused on what you're focused on. But with that, he just completely loses sight of what it means to run a home. And that is how important being a housewife is, because he's not being, I don't bother him with stuff that really needs to be fixed in the home. Whereas in our previous home, when he did everything, he decorated the home, he painted the home, he made sure every few months he started painting again. If there's something, broken, he fixed it. We are living in a different time in our marriage, where that is not his focus. And he can do all the things. He's a great carpenter, but his focus is on make sure he's building the platform and the legacy that he wants and needs for his family. So people don't understand that being a housewife is a big job. It's so weird to drink tea through a straw, but gotta do what I gotta do. So people really think it's just sitting at home doing nothing. That is what LeBron said, right? Let me what I took away from what he said. LeBron said at his age of 40, he cannot see himself, if he wasn't married, with a stay-at-home girlfriend or a stay-at-home wife or woman. The internet went crazy. He was not talking about mom. He was talking about wife or woman. Because he doesn't know what it means to be a housewife. That means she caters to you. She caters to the men. And if you are a stay-at-home girlfriend or a housewife that sits at home and does nothing, that means that your husband is probably not doing something significant. He isn't building because he doesn't need your services. And if a man or husband doesn't need your services, then what's the point of being a housewife? The whole point is that you cater to that man. And of course, there's time for yourself where you can do your own stuff. But there's no such thing as a lazy stay-at-home or lazy housewife. Even if I had maids and stuff like that, I'm here to cater to my husband. So I would ask my husband, babe, what can I do for you? What do you need to be ticked off your agenda? There are some housewives that take care of their husband's agenda. Make sure that everything works great, that they do the calls almost like a manager or a personal assistant. There are different types of housewives. You have housewives that have children, and that is where I'm at now. I'm maybe less of a housewife as I was before because it was solely the focus was on my husband. Now I'm more busy with the children, but I'm still a housewife. I still do my best to make sure that I tick everything off my list as much as possible, because sometimes, the children come in between and I cannot meet my goals. But my husband is still my priority. I still listen to him and his needs, conversations. It might not be hours as it was in the past, but I always make sure when he comes home that I am available, that I talk to him. I ask him how his day was, how is his social media going. I'm still engaged. You're very engaged if you are a housewife. So I really want to know, how does your life look as a housewife, and how do your people around you respond to you being a housewife, especially when you live in Middle East, South America, Eastern Europe, and even Africa, like Northern Africa, but also West Africa, my Nigerians, my Ghanaians, because I know my sisters over there, they don't play. They look fabulous. And there's also culture within West African culture that being a wife is something so beautiful. He who has found a wife has found a good thing. And I believe that. He who has found a wife has found a good thing. And I know that a lot of Western African, but even other parts of Africa, they are very religious and they believe in all these things. And I see a lot of men also confessing online or sharing the testament that when they found their wives, their life changed and their lives flourished and success started coming, and they see the contribution that their wives, their housewife how their housewife have contributed to the success of their lives, the improvement of their lives. And that's why they pour into her, because as you pour into something that gives to you and you see the success, you want to pour more in that person, because this is a whole dynamic. It's not him taking and That's it. He needs to pour back, because if he doesn't pour back in his wife will not pour into him, and things will not roll in the way they're supposed to roll. So it's a whole system, and you cannot play with the system. So because I wanted to post this, and I probably did post it, but if not, I will post it, because my husband always says when he is with a woman, he becomes skinny, and he becomes, that is how he sees it, become skinny. And he also says, because you are sucking my blood. Women always suck my blood, and I become skinny. And I'm like, it's kind of true, because I give him life. I'm like a queen bee. I am queen bee, not queen bee Beyonce, but a queen bee. There are different type of women in the world. I am at home taking care of my quarters. I have a man that goes outside, gets the honey and stuff, and comes and brings it back to me. So I become more beautiful. I flourish. I gain weight. Right now it's in control, but you start looking your best. And of course, because my husband has to do the work, he is getting the wear and tear, and he is getting, all that stuff. That's how I see it, how I view it. And that's how it's supposed to be. My dad always told my husband, I give you my daughter, but the day that my daughter doesn't look the way I remember her, because I've always been like this, always. So my dad knows this is my daughter. The day I see her and she is not like this, buddy, I'm taking my daughter back, because I know something ain't right. And I think that's a good thing my dad said that, because he kind of set the standard, knowing that my daughter always has to look good. Then I know her life is well. The moment I see her losing herself, putting on makeup, not taking care of herself, gaining a lot of weight, I know something ain't right in the marriage, and I'm taking my prized possession back. So yeah, I'm supposed to look like this. And my dad always says, Debi, I know you have 4 children, but take time for yourself. Make sure you shower good, brush your teeth, do all the things, do your hair, do your nails, make sure you take care, make sure you sleep good. My dad is a connoisseur of sleep. He always tells me, you need to rest, because when you rest, you always look beautiful. So sometimes I feel that I would do better or be better if I surround myself with women from the Middle East or Northern Africa, or my African sister, my Western African sisters. Of course, there are other African sisters, and I want you here. I want the women from South America. I want the women from East Europe to come join us and tell us, how do they do it? What do they do? How does it feel to be celebrated, and your sisters and your mom and your aunties and other people in the community celebrating you, pushing you, that you are that wifey and that you need to look good for your husband? I need that in my life. I'm not going to lie. I love it. I'm looking it up on the internet, but it's not the same. So I really want to come as well, to meet with you, to have, the gatherings and the events where we can meet up as us housewives, celebrate one another, have seminars, have the afternoon teas, shop together, have, private makeup lessons. I want that for us, because I feel connected to you, and I feel like I'm your sister. And you haven't met me, but I have met you a gazillion times because I saw you online. I just love the way you represent being a housewife. I love your fashion. I want to shop your designers, your traditional dresses, the Nigerian traditional, the designs that are out there. I want to come to Lagos Fashion Week. I want to come to Ghana and meet with my sisters, to meet with the fabulous housewives that live there and that are proud to support their husband, to create a beautiful home and create a family, and where they are celebrated by their community. I want that for us. This is international, baby. This is not the West. I'm not saying that we all know it in the West, because in the West, we are not being celebrated. That's why we have this club, so we can uplift, empower, and celebrate one another and tell each other that it's okay and that it's valuable to be a housewife, and that you're doing the right thing by supporting a man that sees more for himself, sees more for his wife and his family. Because when he makes it, we all make it. You get, rewarded. God will bless you more. You get a bigger home. You get more blessings, more children, more love, more laughter. And I love that. I really do love that. At this point of my life, once I am pregnant, I'm just so happy. I'm just, yes, another baby. I really feel like old school, like babies are for women. That's how I feel. The baby is for me. That is my prize, because the humping and the bumping is for him. That is what he wants to do. I'm not saying that I don't want to hump and bump, but the man can do it all day every day. For me, it's the prize that I get from the action, and that's having a child and bringing them into the family and having a bigger home. And not to say a bigger home just to say, where are you? But where we can all live comfortably. Everybody has their own room. There are spaces together with one another. I just, I'm thinking down the line where my grandchildren will come home and visit me, and where we have slumber parties, and where we have gatherings and Christmas and holidays and birthday parties. That is why I support my husband, because I see the vision, and that's why I'm like, babe, you gotta do it. You gotta make these type of videos. And sometimes he derives from him, like, babe, you need to get back. You need to be like this. Why? I believe this is what is going to help you achieve your goals. And he who has found a wife has found a good thing. So I feel like I'm going by gut. And I know he can do it. And I'm so invested in his career. And sometimes I get angry or resentful. We're like, babe, if you do this, you will get it. You look good. You are a handsome man who's over 50. Talk about it. You got a beautiful wife. You got a good marriage. You got beautiful kids. Talk about that. Don't talk about what other trending topics online, because it's not important. Keep your focus on this. Keep your focus on God. That is where your blessings are. People need to see that it can be done, and that you can take care of a wife, and that not all women are the same, that not all women are just here to take, that not all women are going to once you make it, they're gonna leave you or whatever. Talk about the real deal. Talk about how it is to be, a husband when you were a bachelor, a player. People want to know that, because I knew when I was with my second boyfriend years ago, I had a friend of mine who found a boyfriend, and they had a great relationship. They bought a house together. He was serious, he was committed. Now they are married, they have 2 children. And I always asked the boyfriend, can you talk to my boyfriend, please? Can you tell him how it needs to be done? I was so naive, because I thought that he would talk to my boyfriend so that he could change his way and act differently. That is not how it works, by the way. But I know there are a lot of women that need to hear that, to hear how a man can change, because my husband wasn't like this. He wasn't a bad person, but he didn't find his person yet, and when he didn't find that person yet, he just behaved differently. So a lot of women want to know, why is my husband best, they look their best, they on the best behavior, the way they talk is all with love. If they have any critic points, they do it with love. They don't do it out of fear or hate or punishment. And I think that is what the world needs to hear. And I'm helping my husband to achieve that goal. And I do it with love. I love helping him. I love motivating him, pushing him. The same thing with my children. I'm a giver. I give life. Of course, I give birth. I'm a woman, but I also give life. I speak life. I'm very bubbly and sparkly. I'm really always happy, so I'm not draining. I know there are women that are emotionally unstable or just going through a hard time, and that affects their environment, that affects their children, which makes it maybe harder for their husbands to focus on their goals, because they have to step in and make sure the mom is okay, so that the children are okay. I'm strong. I'm strong like that. I am always laughing. I can always recharge myself. I know what I need to build myself up. I know what I need, to be happy. So my husband doesn't really need to take a lot of time. At least I don't, my husband doesn't need to do too much for me. I can do a lot of things for myself. So that is also where I am blessed, where some women, they get sick and their husband has to step in. And that's why I tell myself, you gotta go, because God is laying the foundation. Your wife is healthy, she's strong, even though if she gives birth, everything is going well. I'm up and running real quick. I don't need a lot of downtime. The children are not sick. The children are, for their age, they're kind of self-sufficient. They know what to do. I'm laying the foundation, so you should run. So don't play with my time, because God is telling you to go. This is a blessing. There are a lot of households, there are a lot of women I know that are sick, they are not strong enough, they are emotionally drained, and it's weighing on the husband, the boyfriend. They have to step in, they have to step up, they need children to school. There's a lot going on. God has laid the foundation, you should run. So that's why I'm loving my life. I love being a housewife. I carry it well. I carry it with pride. I'm not ashamed, but I really want to connect, because I want to be better. I want to learn. I want to network. I want to connect you with other housewives who might need that inspiration, that motivation, need that reassurance. Because I might not need it, but I know that there are housewives out there that need it, because, especially in the West, because we do not get that support from our surroundings. And a lot of women in the West will struggle with it, because in our culture, it is celebrated when a woman has degrees, has a beautiful job, is doing her thing, and that is what we celebrate. And being a wife is secondary. It's not really important. So I want us to connect. I think that is more important than talking to celebrities at this point that are from the West. I think we need more infusion from Middle East, Eastern Europe, South America, and of course Africa. Those influences are very much needed here in the club. So if you are a Nigerian woman, if somebody from Kuwait or Morocco, Turkey, hello, welcome to the club. My name is Debi, and I started this club a few months ago because I want to connect with other housewives. I feel it's very important that we stand together, that we learn from each other, we motivate each other, empower, stay strong, and connect. It's all about housewives? How can you sharpen your tools if there are not other housewives that surround you? When they say, show me your 5 closest friends and I can tell you where you are going to be in the next 5 years. So it's important for us housewives to stay together, to tell each other the stories about how to support your husband and never to waver, not to give up. My husband isn't financially successful yet. His platform hasn't blew up yet. So I need the women that's been through it, that already been through that phase of their husband being started over or went through a bankruptcy. How did you support him? What did you do? Which stories did you tell him? Which videos did you gather in the archives so that you could show him when he comes for work? What did you do? Which prayers? You know, what did you do to get your husband back on track? These are the conversations we need to have if we want to be the best to our abilities. Because like I said, in my culture, nobody will tell me, baby, this is what you need to tell your husband. This is what you can do. This is the food you can cook to make sure that he gets, that ease. I'm just saying something. These are, I don't have that because in my culture, investing in a man is just stupid. And I'm not talking about financial investment, but just your energy. And I'm like, how can it be? This is my husband. My children and I, we share all the same name. Everything, he's working so I can be the housewife, the mom that I want to be. Why shouldn't I invest in my husband? This is such a new concept in the Surinamese culture that I really do stand alone. And that's why I built this club. Because I really want to connect and learn and build friendships for life. Even though the children will be older, I still want to connect with you. I want to travel with you. I want you to come to my house. That's why I want to have a beautiful house where I can invite you in, where we can have nice conversation and socialize, talk makeup, talk food, talk culture, talk art, all that stuff. So yeah, that's why I always say the best things in life are free. They are really free because subscribing is free, talking to one another is free, being kind, looking out for one another. These are all things that are for free. So give me something money cannot buy. That's a like and subscribe, but most importantly, share with other housewives. Let's just travel into the Middle East. Let's just travel into Africa, Morocco. I want to connect with you. I want to come to Morocco. My neighbor, she's Moroccan. She's not a housewife, unfortunately, but she is a great friend of mine. And I love Morocco. I've always been surrounded by Moroccan people. That's why I'm also inspired to be a housewife. My mom had Moroccan friends. All these women were housewives. They have great lives. They might not be so fabulous, but they really inspired me to show me that you have choices in this life. And feminism means you are free to decide what you want to be and how you want to live your life. So if that means you want to be a working woman, be a boss, independent woman, do that. But it also means if you want to be a housewife and just look fabulous and have a husband and be happy to have a husband and cook for him and clean him, you can also do that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing dangerous about it. Meaning the job, the task itself is not dangerous. It's only dangerous who you connect with, who you marry. And the same danger that lies for housewives will also lie for somebody who's working. It just depends on making sure you find the right person. So I want to come to Morocco. I want to shop antique. I want to go to all these markets. I want to see it. I want to come to Nigeria. Okay, I want to come to Ghana because I've never been, so I really want to go home and see what's going on over there. I want to come to Brazil because Brazil is next to Suriname. I want to go to Russia and all these other places. I want to see how y'all do all the beauty treatments, Korea and stuff like that. So I want us to connect Housewives United. Okay, and for the new people here, I do have a name for the club, by the way, but I haven't shared it yet because we are busy with the legalities of it all, because I don't want nobody to come steal our club name. Okay, and it's a good one, and I have a logo, I have everything, and I have somebody in my corner in my team, which is my friend I know from university, so she's helping me out. But I also say, if you have suggestions or you have skills that we really could use in this club, please send us a message. We need you. I don't do this by myself. If you know people we can interview, or you have venues where we can host, or you know fabulous party planners or designers who do the decorations so that we can come together. If you say you really need to talk to this fabulous housewife here in South Africa, let me know. Let's put it together. If you are one that wants to have the donations, if you want to make a donation, send us an email or a DM. This is a non-profit organization. This is not a traditional, I'm an influencer and I'm telling you, you should buy this product and I get commission. No, this is a non-profit organization, meaning we go by deals, sponsors, and donations. Even if, let's say, Chanel said, oh, we want to give you a beauty deal, I love what you're doing, all the proceedings will go to the non-profit organization, and we will use the funds to create more opportunities for our club. Meaning, if we want to go do interviews, if we want to create products, because I do want to create products, and these proceeds might go to the non-profit organization, or they will go to charity. So we decide together what we want to spend money on, how we gonna distribute this money, how we, so this is not a traditional I'm an influencer, give me money. No, we are putting this in the organization, and if that means we have to go to Texas because we want to meet up with somebody there and we're gonna do a seminar or a great interview, or we have to do photo shoots, or we are invited to come speak at a event, it will all be from this fund of this non-profit organization, because we might be invited to talk to someone.